Chef Harrison, and we just made some seared scallops with Béarnaise and a little stone fruit salad. So when I was a chef at Brasserie Brixton, we had a couple come in. I think it was like their second or third date, and they really loved it. And then a year later, they got married, and I think they were from Texas, and they wanted to stop in and have some dinner, but we were closed the only time they would be there. So they asked us if we would do a special meal just for the two of them. And amongst many of the things that I made, we had a stone fruit salad, and then I also made a steak with Béarnaise, and just kind of playing around, snacking in the back. So I dipped a peach into the Béarnaise, and I thought, damn, that's really good. So here we are today. All right, so we're gonna make a little clarified butter for our Béarnaise later on. At home, I would just use a microwave. Just turn your power to 50% and maybe like a pound of butter in a minute. Bam, easy peasy. But we got a nice stove, so we might as well. Butter is a fat and water emulsion, so we're just gonna heat it up to break that emulsion. And then because fat floats on top of water, all of the milk solids will be at the bottom with the water, and then just all the fat you want. There'll be a little bit of scum on top. We just take that out. And so I'll just turn it on high, watch it as it goes. Maybe take 10 minutes. Just watch your color at the end. If you caramelize your milk solids, you'll have ghee. If you take it too far, you'll have burnt butter. So don't do that. All right, so our clarified butter, once your butter starts to foam up, that means the water has released. And you just pour it out. Watch the bottom of the pot. That's where all the milk solids will be. And then you can see on the bottom will be some milk solids. There's all your fat. And then this is just kind of some steam trapped on top. We'll scoop that off a little bit later. Clarified butter. That's it. So I love fennel just for its like anise properties. So traditionally, people always say that kind of licorice flavor, but I find it's a lot more complex than that. It definitely has that pop, but there's a certain freshness to it. And then to go along with the kind of freshness and summeriness of those peaches, I think that the little kind of bitter and anise flavor really balances it out. So you got your sweet, and then you've got kind of another component to kind of round everything out. So we got the fennel, and then the tarragon will kind of bridge into each other. I'm just cutting these real fine. I'm not going to cook them. They're kind of going with the stone fruit salad. So I want them real small so you get that kind of light crunch, but you don't need to cook it down to kind of take away too much of that rawness. So peaches are not quite as ready as they could be, but for our little salad, we're okay with a little bit of a underripe peach. Nectarines are good though. Plum, also good. Yeah, so what separates Béarnaise and a hollandaise? Hollandaise is like the base, and then Béarnaise just has shallots, black pepper, and tarragon in it. So we're just adding some extra of those flavors to it. All right, so for our Béarnaise, we're gonna basically just infuse our acid with some shallots and some tarragon. Just really pack that flavor in. And then I also like to use those shallots that I've cooked down in the champagne vinegar. I like to pull that into my Béarnaise just to give it a little texture as well. So champagne vinegar, probably about half a cup, a couple of sprigs of tarragon, half of that shallot brunoise, and then peppers up to you. 10 turn. And then we're just going to bring that up real quick, turn it down, let it simmer for 10 minutes should be all we need there. And then we'll strain that out, and that'll be the base for our hollandaise. All right, so once we've reduced it by, I would say, about a third, take the tarragon out, strain it, because we just want the vinegar for the hollandaise, and then we'll save the shallots to fold in afterwards. So we're going to make our Béarnaise. We're going to use the blender method because it's the easiest way to do it. We have our clarified butter, still warm. We have our Tarragon Reduction. And then we've got 3 egg yolks and a little bit of water. That's all you need. So we'll start with our egg yolks. A little bit of salt. Half of our reduction. You just want to let that go for a minute and a half. That'll start your emulsion already. Basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get water and fat to be friends. So there's an enzyme in eggs called lecithin with heat and a little bit of acid. The protein opens up and then it allows the water and the fat to combine. So we're making our own emulsion. I always keep water on hand to adjust as I need. I'm going to make sure that your clarified butter is not too hot. If it's too hot, it'll denature the proteins too much. Just, I'd say a little bit over room temp. And then always keep an eye on your vortex. And you just want to slowly add in your butter. You want to keep your eye on it. You can see the emulsion happening on the sides. You can kind of hear it as well as it gets thicker. Just make sure you're doing slow, even streams. The blender's doing most of the work for you. You just want to help it along. And as it thickens, you can turn it up. Also, to adjust consistency, you add your water. I like my hollandaise pretty thick. Just kind of check the temperature as you go. A little over body heat is what we're going for. All right, as your vortex starts to tighten up, you just want to check, make sure it's seasoned where you want it. Do a little construction work. It's good. I'm going to add a little bit more of our reduction for acidity, a little more salt. And then as we add a liquid, we can certainly add more butter to kind of get that thickness, balance it out. All right, we got a beautiful hollandaise. And then the final steps of turning it into a Béarnaise. Take our base. Take some of those shallots from our reduction. And tarragon. A little bit more salt. A little more black pepper at the end. There you go. Very nice. Tastes good on pretty much anything. Or put it on scallops. All right, so we got our scallops that we cleaned up earlier. And then we're just going to salt them. Even salting. And you want to salt them on the part of the scallop that we cut off first. So the part that was on the hoop side. So anytime you add salt, it's going to draw out moisture. So when we're looking to sear our scallops, we want to kind of avoid as much moisture as we can so we get that nice even sear. And I just find it's easier to salt when it's in the pan as well. And then our dish in total is going to be a little stone fruit fennel salad with seared scallops and a nice Béarnaise. So we've let our pan preheat a little bit, getting nice and hot. For scallops, you definitely want a very hot pan. I always do hot pan, cold oil. Gives you a little bit less stick. All right, you ready? All right, let's do it. Healthy amount of oil. Make sure it's got around the pan, nice and hot. Start with your big ones first. Kind of press them down to make sure that as much surface area is touching the pan as possible. Scallops cook really fast, but you don't want to touch them until they're ready so that you make sure you get all the color you're looking for. And if you cook them right, when they're ready to release, they'll release. Like right before I turn it, I'll throw the butter in there, and that kind of steam from the butter will also help lift from the pan. Scallops, I like to go medium rare, I would say. So I'll cook it maybe 60% of the way on one side, hit it with the butter and everything, flip it, take it off the heat, and just kind of baste it the rest of the way. And I'll season the other side. And then you just kind of want to take a little peek. They're releasing nicely. Want a little bit more color. Just kind of move my pan around to get the oil evenly distributed. This guy's a smaller one. We'll check him out. And that's beautiful. Throw our butter in. Throw our aromatics. Turn our heat off. And then you just kind of flip your scallops as you need. I would use a spoon, but I would suggest a spatula. So we got that nice color on there. And then we have the heat off. We're just going to let the residual heat and then that butter basting on top take it the rest of the way. And these scallops are looking pretty good. Pan's a little hot, so we're just going to use the lemon to cool it down. Juice never goes where you want it to. Just want to feel for their doneness. These bad boys feel pretty good. We'll just take them out on a nice paper towel to drain a little bit of that excess off. All right, so we're going to assemble everything we got. We took one of our shells, and you can kind of throw them in the oven really low just to kind of help get that stuff off and then scrub it really good. So we have a beautiful shell. We've got the plums, the peaches, and the nectarines with our fennel. We're just going to throw a little lemon zest in there. We're going to take a little bit of our Tarragon Reduction. Nice olive oil. Some more tarragon. A little bit of salt. We got our Béarnaise. We're just going to put that right on top. And then we got our scallops. And then you always got to have a little pocket salt just to finish it off. There you go. Fresh peaches, nectarines, and plums from the farmer's market, mixed in with a little bit of fennel, tarragon, and then we made a Béarnaise from scratch. We even clarified our own butter. And then we also cleaned our own scallops, seared them up. Now we got this beautiful dish.